I am here with MLW middleweight champion. He is a despicable human being, but an outstanding wrestler. None other than MJF. MJF, how are you doing?
Sean, do you really just call that an intro? Are you kidding me? All right, let's try this again. Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or let's just assume poor because you're listening to Sean's podcast, my name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Not only am I the MLW World Middleweight Champion, I am also the Combat Zone Wrestling World Middleweight Champion. I have also been coast to coast, across the border and across the pond. I have worked everywhere. I have been everywhere. I am only 22 years of age, and I have only been doing this for 3 years. Now that, Sean, that is how you introduce a superstar like Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You tried your best, though, kid. I'm proud of you.
Do you have any documentation to prove that you're 22? I think we might have a Danny Almonte situation here where you have like a 15-year-old pitching against 11-year-olds. I don't think I call into question your age.
Sean, it feels that way because I'm what you would call a prodigy, okay? There has never been anybody like me in this sport as well-rounded as me. There has never been someone who has rose as fast, who is a great promo, who is amazing in the ring, who is amazing in the back, in front of the crowd. It's just not possible. I understand that it's inconceivable. I understand that some people just don't want to believe it out of spite, out of jealousy. But the fact of the matter is I was born March 15th, 1996.
Wow. Well, one person who has taken a liking to you is Cody Rhodes, it would seem. He speaks very highly of you. You're booked for All In coming up on September 1st. Tell me, what has the reception been like from Cody and you interacting with him as you prepare for All In?
I mean, here's the thing. Me and Cody Rhodes, best friends. Sometimes we go out, we get like some caviar tasting. We've gone to some wine tastings as well. Tremendous guy. Always enjoy flying out to visit him. But yeah, I mean, we got along right off the hitch because, quite frankly, and he'll admit it too, I kind of remind him of a younger him. You know, somebody who's just so immensely talented at such a young age. Someone who just gets it at such a young age, just like Cody did. I mean, if you look back to those original years of Cody's career, Cody was well beyond where he should have been in his age range. And why wouldn't he be? I mean, he's the son of one of the greatest professional wrestlers in the history of the industry, Dusty Rhodes. And as far as, you know, the perception of me being booked on All In, I mean, everybody, I think, let's face facts, saw it coming. I mean, I wrestle everywhere else. Why wouldn't I be on the biggest show in the history of professional wrestling?
You mentioned how you wrestle everywhere else. MLW is one of those. I have spoken to Court Bauer about WWE reaching out to MLW talent even when they are contracted. What do you think that says about the talent level in MLW that WWE has interest in so many of them and has went to the lengths of where MLW has kind of had to say, hey, back off a little bit. These are our guys.
I mean, here's the thing. Major League Wrestling, again, just like MJF, which is why it makes sense that I'm the face of the company, has rose in such a record time. I mean, if you look at any other promotion, whether it be WWE, WCW, I mean, literally any other television wrestling promotion. Here's the thing. We had, I think, maybe 3 shows before we were picked up by as a TV product. I mean, that's incredibly unheard of, and there's a reason for that. It's because the talent in Major League Wrestling is absolutely insane. It's because the storytelling in Major League Wrestling is absolutely insane. It's because what we do is, in fact, Major League. And was a lot of our talent, including a certain somebody who's better than most, told that WWE had interest in them? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, right now, it is my job, it is everybody's job in that locker room to try to make it a point to make Major League Wrestling. It's not the top promotion in the world, one of the top promotions being talked about today, which is a hell of a task to do considering how well wrestling as a whole is doing right now. It's absolutely insane. But there's a reason for it, Sean. Do you know what the reason is?
Well, what is that reason?
The reason is because I have chosen to be a professional wrestler, which has only risen the stock of pro wrestling as a whole.
So we mentioned Cody Rhodes taking a liking to you. You're on All In. You're on MLW. MLW filming pretty frequently. Their business model is a bit different. They're trying a lot of new things. Also, they're bringing back methods that have been tried and true throughout pro wrestling in the past. What do you make of their business model? Because I mean, you're a prospect in a company that's looking to get established, and they do have these different types of matches and these different types of approaches, from battle riot to war games. How do you know what to prepare for on any given night?
I mean, when you're as good as me, Sean, what do you have to do? You know, all I have to do is walk in. Sean, I wake up, I piss greatness, okay? I'm ready for anything at all times. So it doesn't matter what the stipulation is. It doesn't matter who I'm up against, because I'm going to win. It's just that's what winners do, Sean. They win. I know you probably don't understand what that's like, but winners win. So to answer your question, I'm always ready for any stipulation, just like almost everyone else in the Major League Wrestling locker room. I mean, if you think about it, there's so much different stuff going on in the world of Major League Wrestling. So you got to keep your head on a swivel.
I remember reading that Roddy Piper, you're a fan of him, maybe inspired a little bit by him in the past. He made the crossover to acting. Is that something you see in your future?
Oh, absolutely. When all is said and done, and MJF's been put into the Hall of Fame and has been a multi-time world champion and a worldwide name, I would most certainly like to take a step into acting. Actually, when I was in high school, I did a whole lot of acting, and when I was going into college, which I opted out of, I decided not to do the whole college thing so I can pursue this, my dream. I was actually going to major in theater arts.
Well, what movies of his do you look at? I mean, obviously there's They Live. That's the classic that stood out to you, if any.
Oh, that's 100% They Live. It's such an incredible performance, his tenacity, his intensity. There was something about Roddy Piper, much like yours truly, where the second he was on screen, it didn't matter who else was surrounding him. The only thing that mattered was Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper had a way of literally reaching out through the TV screen, grabbing you by the throat, pulling you in, and forcing you to pay attention to anything he was doing. And that's something that I don't strive to do, I just do it. But everybody else strives to do. You know, everybody else is trying to catch up to guys like Roddy Piper, guys like Ric Flair, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, if you're not studying people like that, then you're an idiot. So,
a question from one of our readers says, with MJF being one of the premier douchebags in the world, what other entitled douchebags did he look up to growing up?
First of all, much like you, Sean, I'm sure this guy's man bun is way too tight to think straight, so he's going to have to say stupid things like that. So allow me to correct you. I am not a douchebag, okay? Here's what your issue is. Your issue is jealousy, which is completely fine. Literally everyone I come across is jealous of me, and that's why they have an issue with me. But that's fine. To answer your question, though, if we're talking about people who might have been looked at in a bad light because they were so good at their job, my response would be a young Randy Orton. My response would be The Miz. My response would be Chris Candido in ECW. My response would be the God, Adam Cole. You know, those are, you know, among obviously Piper, obviously Flair, Ole Anderson. I mean, the list goes on, and I think that's what makes me different than everybody in my age group. Everybody else wants to slap their leg. Everybody else wants to hit 27 different variations of a cutter. Everybody else wants to do 30 different variations of a Canadian destroyer. I don't care about that. You know what I care about? I care about winning. I don't care about my perception. I don't care about what people think about me. All I care about is making money and winning. And that's the way this business is supposed to work. For some reason, everybody now seems to care about what the fans think. Guess what? The fans aren't going to sign your checks.
We mentioned, and I poked a little fun, maybe saying you weren't as young as you say you are. You are, but Cody Rhodes, as we mentioned, he got started young too. He's 33 now, which is still very young in pro wrestling, which would have put you at about, 10, 11 when he debuted in WWE. So, I mean, he's still a very young guy in pro wrestling, but when you watched him, you were like, probably elementary school?
So, check yourself, okay, but the answer is yes. Here's the thing, all right? I remember the first time I saw Cody Rhodes on screen, and right away I thought he was a star. You know, I thought the tag team, which I'll never forget, of him and Bob Holly was incredibly interesting and incredibly cool. I thought it was even cooler when he joined Legacy with guys like Ted DiBiase Jr. and Randy Orton. His whole entire stay in WWE I really enjoyed. But the thing that's crazy about Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes has become more of a household name. He's become even more popular on his own terms by leaving that company. And that's something that not a lot of people can say. So yeah, I have been studying and watching that guy's career since I've been 9 or 10.
You're the MLW World Middleweight Champion. I'm curious, how did the deal with MLW come about? How did they approach you and talk you into putting pen to paper? Because you are working all over the place.
Well, here's the thing. A, it took a lot of money. And B, it took a lot of talking. You know, most guys in our industry, when they have a contract put in front of their face, they don't ask questions. They just put pen to paper. Not me. You know, I wanted to understand Court Bauer's vision. I wanted to understand where Court Bauer wanted to take this company. I wanted to understand, most importantly, where Court Bauer saw me in the picture. And obviously, if you don't see me as a top guy, then you're either blind or just plain out criminally insane. And obviously, Court Bauer is neither of those two things. So, yes, he is utilizing me properly, and that was one of the main reasons I decided that I needed to be an MLW guy.
As we wrap up, wanted to do a little bit of a segment. Want to have you pick who would win in a street fight between any number of people. We'll start off with Cody Deaner versus Ace Romero. Street fight, who wins?
I mean, all Ace would have to do is sit on him. He's incredibly morbidly obese. Dumb question.
Gangrel and Joey Janela.
Joey Janela is quite possibly the most unathletic, disgusting, ugly piece of garbage I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm fairly certain he would not be able to kill off a vampire-human hybrid. So my answer is most certainly Gangrel.
I get the feeling we'll probably end up seeing at the end of one of Janela's shows one day. But Tyler Bateman and Joe Gacy. You faced both of them recently.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I beat both of them quickly, sufficiently, and handedly. But if I had to say one was tougher than the other, I'd have to say Bateman. Bateman is an insanely good technical wrestler and an insanely good fighter. Just, he's somebody, again, I normally don't like to put people over because at the end of the day, the only single person that anybody should be talking about is me. But once you breach that wide gap of who number one you should be talking to and who number two is, I think Bateman should be number two. I think this is a guy who's insanely talented and should be way more places. And I think you're going to be seeing that coming up really soon.
A three-way fight between Mia Yim, Tessa Blanchard, Jordan Grace. You've been in the ring with all three of them this year.
Oh, man. I hate all of them. So my answer is me. Next.
And finally, Stokely Hathaway versus a fellow by the name of Pete Lightning.
So the story of Pete Lightning is very sad. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have
Pete
not.
Lightning was a tremendous white meat babyface down in the CZW Dojo Wars territory. He was then given an opportunity to do extra work with WWE, and a lot of people don't know the story. He was security for Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe shoved him and completely shattered his right shoulder. And after that, Pete Lightning, he was sidelined for a long time, eventually just decided to retire. So my answer would definitely be Stokely Hathaway would be able to beat Pete Lightning very quickly, very sufficiently, because let's face facts, he's got a really bad bum shoulder.
And let's be honest, I mean, Matt Riddle left the independent circuit because he was scared of Stokely Hathaway, I believe. At least that's what I've come to learn. You guys
Look, Sean, you said it. Everybody else was thinking it, okay? That's just the facts of life.
You guys can check out MJF on MLW. You can see him all around the country. You can also see him at All In. MJF, where can they follow you on social media?
If you don't already follow me because you live under a rock, it is _MJF on both Twitter and Instagram. Don't follow my Facebook because we are not friends. Ladies and gentlemen, you have got to listen to the smooth, succulent voice that is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I am better than you, and you know it, Sean. You suck. Good day.
Thank you for your time.